Question, Sasha, why is there sock on your bat? Is it to clean up the blood? And the answer is no. So if you're, hitting someone with the bat, they're going to try to grab at the bat, and then they're going to try to pull it away from you, right? So you put a sock on the bat, so when they grab onto it, you can just yank the bat away, and then they're left with the sock, and you still have the bat.
They're spinning these tales, but I'm fresh in the plan. Trained in the circus, but I'm just don't let it. Didn't wreck their shine, didn't kill the dream. They're stitching this case like it's made to fit. But I'm calling them out, none of it legit. No car, no loot, no train to see. You're looking for a villain, but that ain't me. I'm not your boogeyman, I'm not your ghost. Didn't take their light, didn't come that close. They need a bad guy, but I don't agree. I'm standing tall, just let me be. Twist up the story, but it still won't fly. You can't gauge the truth, so why even try? No phone on the tower, no dirt on my name. You're digging for answers in a made-up game. I'm here in the fight, but I'm rolling the show. Truth's got my back, and it's ready to blow. I'm not your boogeyman, I'm not your ghost. Didn't take their life, didn't come that close. They need a bad guy, but I don't agree. I'm standing tall, just let me be. Twist up the story, but it still won't fly. You can't gauge the truth, so why even try? No phone on the tower, no dirt on my name. You're digging for answers in a made-up game. I'm here in the fight, but I'm rolling the show. Truth's got my back, and it's ready to blow. I'm not your boogeyman, I'm not your ghost. Didn't take their life, didn't come that close. They need a bad guy, but I don't agree. I'm standing tall, just let me be.
Where are my keys? Where are my keys?
Facts don't fade,
Oh, yeah.
and the lies don't
Oh,
stay.
Stanley! I need my
Just
Stanley.
the same feels turning slow.
Mom, where's my purse?
And above, no fear in my stride. Truth by
Oh
my
my
side.
god, there's nothing to eat in here. Jack! I need money for Choclate!
Cameron, it's time to get up.
What time is it?
2 p.m.
It's so early!
You want the truth? It's right here, my friend.
I think Kip was
Just
going
the
to come
same
out.
fear, it's how we
We're
win
gonna
in the
keep
end.
everything in the case that we see today will remain. I don't think they're going to throw anything out. I think there was some decent arguments back and forth, but there was no real issue, any violations, anything that would ever that was brought up that would make me think that anything's going to be changed.
weather. What is up, everybody? Welcome in. I hope everybody's doing just great. I think that last one there is Black's Beach. I think what Kenyan Tonka was asking about. This is not the Healing Garden, but it sure looks like it, doesn't it? I just wanted to play that last one for you. All right. I'm glad everybody's here tonight, and it's nice to see. I hope everybody's got a big, full, fat belly. And they're sitting there with a nice glass of wine. And kids, go to bed! Grr, on my desk. We got a lot to get into. I got to keep it kind of, short tonight. I got to get some rest for work. I have a confession to make. You guys know I like to be honest with you. I like my job. I like it. It's I get to do my own thing the whole time. The time flies by really quick. And they pay me every day. I get paid every day. So, things are looking bright. I gotta wear shades, you know what I'm saying? Colder coverage here. Jams Rocks was that bomb track right there. And I like to play DJ once in a while. Alright, let's close this out and pull up the real stuff. Oh, wait, I didn't mean to close that. I had two things left. Hold on, wait a second. Oh, my stars. I also wanted to honestly take just like 10 seconds and acknowledge the tragedy in Washington, D.C. And if you want to just take a moment of silence with me real quick to honor those victims. Okay. All right, let's get into it. Which one was that? Oh, okay. No, it's here. All right, we got it. What's the other one? Oh, I deleted it. Sorry, Audrey. Okay, I had one more thing for you. So let's see here. I gotta start with this. I really do. I love this guy. I really do.
Rev up your engines! Well, Hertz is so desperate. They're trying to get rid of those stupid Tesla electric cars that they bought and nobody wants to rent, that now they're asking the customers, do you want to keep it? Do you want to buy it? They got to get rid of these things, right? It turns out they made a lot of mistakes. One was not understanding Tesla at all. They thought, oh, people are going to want to rent electric cars. One, they don't. They have horrendous resale value now. Now, originally, during coronavirus, they had high resale value because they weren't making the new ones, so the used ones are actually going more than they did when they were brand new. But those days are long gone and forgotten. Now,
and then a trip, they're asking the customers to buy the cars after they ran them. I don't know what's going to happen with Tesla. They're going to stop doing the stainless steel. Hi there, love Tina. It's very nice to see you. Dan, keep your hands off her. Line. And we got Woke Up 1984, Mark and Betty. Mark and Betty is in the contention for one of the last mod spots available. She's going to bring me 220 subscribers from England, and then they get to be mods. We're 2 away from getting new avatars or emojis. And Meg P, thank you for your very generous. I looked again, and so Missy Girl got 1, so we have 2 left, and we get. I'm not plugging. I'm just telling. Anyway, so take me right into Mittens Kitten Zone. All right, and Angel D's behaving. Somebody already deleted her comments, but it's okay. You can get a Tesla for next to nothing. I want to check in. Well, I'll check in with that in a second. Well, let them build up their thing, and then I promise you it'll be good. We got Rockford coming tonight. My name is Kane B. This is the Purge. If you're first time here, hit the subscribe button, hit like. If you're watching the replay, hit that subscribe, and it won't cost you a thing. And I got a full-on money-back guarantee. Check this out.
2 grandchildren here after her home in Morganton flooded and caught fire during Helene.
Very, very thankful. Because we were homeless. We didn't have nowhere to go after our house burnt and that flooded happened. We didn't have anywhere to go.
So far, FEMA says it has delivered 108 homes. We spotted this one along the Catawba River in Burke County. 9 more have been placed at this mobile home.
Closing minutes of the fourth quarter. Whoa.
I guess that one's locked up. Let's go to the next one here, and let me skip ahead just a smidgy-widgy. Here we go.
More importantly, this article is referenced in the Declaration of Ann C. Taylor, a document filed on September 1st, 2023.
Jenn will be here
as
later.
part of the
Rockford's
defense's
here.
third
Tony's
motion
here.
to compel. Specifically, Ann Taylor points to this article to highlight potential discrepancies about what information the state was and was not sharing with the defense. So here are 2 key excerpts from Ann Taylor's declaration for context. I am aware of specific news reports in this case regarding Mr. Koberger's DNA as published by the New York Times on June 11th, 2023, that FBI personnel worked with the profile that Othram had produced, spending days building out a family tree that began with distant relatives. New York Times sources have more information than the state has disclosed to the defense. This New York Times article generated intense media coverage and interest, the scope of which is explained in the TrueScope report attached as Exhibit D. These points highlight the defense's concern about potential gaps in discovery and the broader public interest in the investigative process. As always, I'll be reading the article verbatim and providing you with an unfiltered look at its content. So let's dive in. Inside the hunt for the Idaho killer. After 4 students were stabbed to death in a house near a college campus, investigators scooped up data and forensic evidence, hoping for leads. A new DNA technique finally brought a breakthrough. In the weeks after, 4 University of Idaho students were found slaughtered in a house near campus last November, a growing roster of investigators desperately searching for answers had yet to identify a suspect or even find the murder weapon. Publicly, the authorities were assuring worried residents in the small college town that they were making progress. Privately, they were exhausting their prospects, scouring through the backgrounds of those with the thinnest possible connections to the case. Through the first 2 weeks of December, investigators put some of their focus on classmates of the victims. They also widened the search to examine a man in another state who had been known to send harassing messages to women, but had visited Idaho only twice in his life. They looked at a woman previously charged with assaults in the region. They looked at a man once accused of wielding a knife. They looked at sex offenders. They looked at a white supremacist. Each turned out to be a dead end. Then, after spending weeks sifting through an array of evidence that seemed to lead nowhere, investigators announced an arrest in late December on the other side of the country, Brian Koberger, a PhD student from a nearby university. He was identified only after investigators turned to an advanced method of DNA analysis that had rarely been used in active murder investigations. The story of how dozens of officers from local, state, and federal agencies took the quadruple murder investigation into extraordinary territory is only now becoming more apparent through recent obtained records and interviews with people familiar with the investigation who discuss key details that emerged before the issuance of a gag order in the case.
Before we get into
the case has shown
the
the
whole DNA and all the things, Rockford, you feel like calling in and doing a quick chat with me, bro? And we'll get to Heather's in a minute. I have a local story real quick. I think this is here. Oh, this is Arizona. Check this out. Play. There it goes. Oh, no. Play.
9 people on board came down on a light pole. The most recent accident was in Eloy back in January. 4 people were killed, including the pilot. The sole survivor suffered critical injuries.
The standards are I'm not going to say they're unsafe, but they're a little lower than some of the other areas out there.
Anthony Brickhouse, an aviation expert, explains the NTSB has been calling for more oversight of this.
On May 10th, a drunk driver killed Miguel Artiga as he waited to cross
industry for nearly 2 decades. Hot air balloons fall under Part 91, what's known as revenue passenger carrying operations. Scenes like this, a balloon on fire in Albuquerque in 2008 after it crashed into power lines. In Virginia in 2014, a balloon caught fire, killing all 3 people on board. But it took until 2016, the deadliest hot air balloon crash in U.S. history.
Yeah, it only took me 10 minutes to realize that was the wrong video. The Tucson Police Department thought I was getting off easy, guys. Okay. Alright, maybe you should just call in, Rockford. I'm doing Swamp Roses here all day. I look crazy with that layover thing on me. There we go. Let's get rid of that. Okay. I look crazier now. She's a brick. They have Brick House cigars, and they have really cool cigar boxes, you know, whatever. They got boobs on them. Right. Heather. All right. So, all right, Rockford's gonna call in here, and I'll read this real quick till he does. Okay. The Tucson Police Department is investigating after a woman was found dead in Washington. The TPD said, let me see that being Tampa, officers responded to a call. Oh, there's Rockford. All right. Cool. Put that there. And... well, hello. Investigating after a woman was found dead in Washington. Rockford. TPD said. Rockford. What are you doing, bro? Rock. Okay.
It's kind of funny because I watch you on the TV, but in order to comment, I have to have my laptop open, and they're like 10 seconds in between. It's hilarious.
Oh, really? That's that big of a delay, huh? Yeah, I counted it off one time.
Well, between the TV and my laptop. They're both on the same internet. It's weird.
Huh. Yeah, I had 2 devices doing one time, too. And I had a 15-second delay when I was trying to do the game show host stuff. So what's going on, my brother?
So I got the Rockford rundown of the day, the Purge notes.
All right, let's hear it.
So, first off, you already mentioned we had a moment of silence for the accident that happened today.
Yeah, did you catch who was that? Nancy Kerrigan breaking down on like Fox News or something? Those were all her friends. Really sad.
Oh yeah, the skaters.
Yeah.
But so that was pretty tragic, and there's a little bit of controversy I've seen about where did the helicopter take off from. Then I saw some stuff about those helicopters being flown remotely, but they have, I found out later, recovered one pilot. They haven't released the name yet. And then Trump, of course, comes out and says it's because of the DEI stuff, and that caused a bunch of controversy. So that was kind of interesting to watch that. And here's the real weird thing. I don't know if you know about the significance of the number 33, but
yeah, we're quite
they
familiar.
Were going to land on runway 33. So lots of weird stuff in there.
Well, the pilot was allegedly it was like a test. It was like a preparation flight for her certification or something.
Yep.
And the only comment I saw from Trump was that they should have been watching where they were going, which I was like, okay, you're gonna state the obvious. I guess the another thing about it. Hey, Tammy, Scott Middlehead is in here. What's up, brother? The air traffic control was also undermanned, apparently, like really swamped. And while
that's a busy airport, bro.
Oh, DC, yeah. Reagan, that's like the busiest. You know, you think you got travel in normal environments. When you're talking about all these politicians coming back and forth from their home states.
Yep.
Now you're talking about
probably a big hub too for layovers and shit. Who knows?
And I'm not gonna play the video. It's tragic enough as it is. 67 people lost their lives.
Yeah, too soon, probably.
Way too soon. And I know a lot of people that won't fly. And it's so, to watch the video though, I'm sure most people, if they wanted to, have seen it by now. But the, let me hide this real quick. So Trish, I'm going to pull up my email. I don't know what the weather, the visibility was like. I wonder.
It looked pretty clear, and they were pretty low. I mean, from the video was a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, there's a little bit of a different point right here, but it's amazing that we see videos of these crazy things now.
Instantly. Like, it's like, not
from 3 different angles. Video cameras are everywhere.
It is, well, okay, so here's one picture. I don't know, this is why I was asking, I don't know why, or what it was like in DC, but this is what it was like this morning when, why isn't this showing up? Oh, there it is. When I took my break at work, if you can see that.
Oh, yeah.
I sent these pictures to Twiz this morning, and he's like, "Oh, yeah."
Pretty foggy." But where the video was from, it was a far way away, and you could see it pretty clear. So I don't think there was any fog.
Yeah, I really, it seems like a total breach or a lack of paying attention, or maybe with those Blackhawks, you probably have a lot of computer stuff to monitor, because I
gotta say, here's the thing: when Trump explained the DEI, he said he had a contract to replace all those computers, but when Biden took over, they changed it and just had the computers like updated. So that was his argument, from what I heard.
Oh wow! Hi, Tim Meany.
No politics, and just saying what I heard, you know.
So what else is in the Rockford files today?
Tragedy.
What else you got in the Rockford files today?
Yeah, number 2 is I watched a lot of the hearings. Not to be political, but it's all over the news. You know, Trump's nominees, RFK, Tulsi, and Kash Patel, and I watched a lot of that, and I just can't believe. I watched Adam Schiff and Elizabeth Warren and even Bernie Sanders, and it was just ridiculous, the stuff they were coming up with. Like, they just sound so dumb. You know what I mean? And no offense against them, but, I mean, Adam Schiff got in a disagreement over the word "we." So anyway, I don't want to hold on that. It was just that they just made themselves out to be dummies, and I think RFK, Tulsi, and Kash all slammed it, man. Especially Tulsi. She is such a intelligent lady, man. Love her to death.
Yeah, I really dig her, and she's done well with herself too. Ever since Rogan, she came off really, and then she changed to Republican right after that, right?
I think it was before that. And I don't think she changed to Republican. She just left the Democratic Party. Just like RFK did. That says something, man.
I think you'll see a mass exodus in the coming months. It's not. I don't think John Kerry will ever switch, but that
guy. Huh.
They're but cities like Chicago and San Francisco and New York are still under the stranglehold of these. And somebody made a good point the other day. Is the more rights they're able to take away from you with emergency powers, the more they will continue to use emergency powers, something along those lines. I was like, it's
yeah.
They're using these emergency, pandemic, all that stuff, just to keep us from having all our civil rights. And
well, basically, what they're doing with that, they're all got backdoor cash.
Right.
Republicans, Democrats, the Canadian dude Trudeau and his finance minister, they're all banking cash. That's what it is. And I don't care what political affiliation you are. And it was funny because Kash Patel, or no, it was RFK when he was going with Bernie Sanders. RFK's like, all your donors are pharmaceuticals companies. And he's like, no, they are not. They are not. And he's like, he listed them off, and he's like, $1.5 million. Or $1.5 million. And he goes, yeah, well, I got $200 million. Like, dude, these guys are just like, right in our face with this. I don't know if you can't really call it money laundering, but it's like, all these Congress people are worth millions on $170,000 salary because they're insider trading, they're getting backdoor deals, they're getting money from lobbyists. But anyway, I didn't want to talk about politics. I just had that's been going on in the news, and I thought that those three guys and gal did a really good job defending themselves against the pharmaceutical puppets.
They have such a grip. Let me ask you a question real quick, because we do like to talk about this stuff. And everybody welcome Douglas Outlaw. That was his song. He got it back. If you didn't catch the story, the opening song there is called Let Me Be, and Not Your Boogeyman. And Rockford, somebody stole his song off TikTok, and he got a copyright strike when he tried to play his own song.
Oh my God, bro!
And and so if they finally worked it out, fortunately, I don't think it ever got licensed on. Anyway, so he got that back, and we used it.
That song sounded really good, bro.
Dude, the mix.
That guy is a good producer, singer, songwriter, definitely.
Yeah, he left his band at 20 years to kind of just branch out on his own. And I'll be honest with you. If somebody would please put a link in there so I can keep Rockford's pickup for Douglas. It's Backwood Beats and Outlaw Rhythms. If you don't mind typing that in there, Backwood Beats and Outlaw Rhythms, or maybe you can just click on his icon. I'm not sure, but please sub up to him. He's at a anemic 74 subs. And the videos, he's got something in there for everybody. But the mixes are really good. The songwriting is killer. He's got edge to it. And I'll be honest with you guys. I like to be honest with you. And Lana hasn't that I've seen given him any credit for the song. And that's a kick-ass song. That was the one we played a few shows back, Rockford. Do you remember the one with the AI?
Yeah.
That was Douglas Outlaw, and I haven't heard her give him many props. She might have said something in passing, but I would really appreciate it. This is a call out to Lana, no offense, but the guy wrote a song for you, and it's a kick-ass tune.
Dude, that guy should get on the maybe contact Netflix or something, because those songs. I've only heard those couple, but it almost sounds like what you'd hear in the back of a Netflix show. You know what I mean?
That would be really cool, definitely. And maybe it'll happen. A lot of the Paramount networks and all these things have picked up YouTubers. That's a whole nother story. But
you're probably not going to hear my song on Netflix, though.
Well, it might be redacted. a little bit. All right, let's go on to what I was going to ask you is how I think that there's two things. You know, either you're generous and charitable, or you're just trying to survive, or you're greedy. And I think that there is a lot of greed and corruption in Washington and Hollywood. And because money is never enough. Even when you have 200 million, and they say for the average person, 5 million would get you through life just fine. But they want all these things. But I also wonder if they do have access to some kind of underground tunnel system, because they're building these things so fast now. Did you see that one in Europe, the train tunnel they built? And it's 35 miles long. And I mean, I remember them announcing that they were going to start building it. Now it's finished. And so I wonder if they have some kind of bunker system. I don't know. You would think something like that, if it was for real, would really come out, you know? And you don't see it, but what do you think about that?
Well, the first thing I will say about that is, remember a few nights ago we were talking about Elon Musk, right?
Yep.
Did you know that he has a company called the Boring Company?
Yeah, the Boring Company. They dig tunnels, and they're trying to help traffic in L.A., is what he said on Rogan.
And there's all sorts of underground networks that were built thousands of years ago, like in Turkey and stuff like that.
Yes,
they say there's a big tunnel network under Los Angeles. And, of course, you get a bunch of tunnels they keep finding going across the border to do drug trafficking.
That's a whole different ballgame, right.
So, but, yeah, I remember Elon Musk saying something about if you had a tunnel from Los Angeles to New York, and, you know, if you had a high-speed train under there, you could get there in like 20 minutes.
20 minutes?
Or, you know, half hour, whatever. But I suppose...
Maybe 10 hours.
I mean, when you buy a piece of property, how far down does it go? Like, if Elon Musk wants to build this tunnel under your house, does he have to pay you? You know, for every car that passes by? How far down does your property go?
It's just like with the drone thing. What's your airspace?
How high up does your property go? I guess property is land, so it wouldn't be...
That's awesome, bro. All right, what else you got, brother?
So if you were floating somehow on somebody's property, would it really be trespassing? Because you're not on their property. You're floating 5 feet above it with a little balloon or something.
You'd be like, I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you.
Yep, I'm not on your property. So anyway... I mean, over military bases, they own the airspace, too. That's a whole different thing. But anyway, next on my list, I have the disclosure thing that's been going on with all these UAP people.
Oh, that was about as big a letdown as you could ask for, right?
Oh, my. Well, that's not the next on my list. But anyway, here's the new thing that has come up. And I've already read up and... watched videos on this for years. So, apparently, the reptilian race have technology that when you die, because you don't really die, and you know, near-death experience, you see the light, it's all warm, you go to the light, you get reincarnated. Well, apparently that is technology to keep human souls on Earth, so that the reptilians somehow they feed off misery of humans. So I've seen a couple videos pop up in the realm of the UAP thing lately about that, which is I've known for quite a while. I mean, not known, but they call it the prison planet. But I was listening to a guy a long time. This guy's from the 90s. He had a video. I saw it in the mid-2000s. He said, when you die and you see the white light, turn around. and you will see space. So, just throwing that out there, that's a controversial thing that's popped up in the UAP thing. But like you were saying, the next thing on my list is those drones. And Trump's like, oh, we're going to get to the bottom of that, blah, blah, blah. They come out and say the same fucking thing that the other guy said, the other girl said. So it's like, well, they're all permitted by the FAA for research and other things.
Yeah, other things.
Well, bitch, what are the other things?
That's exactly what got me.
And what are they researching?
Hold on, let me address Typically Unique real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Because she was like, yeah, that sounds plausible. Listen, we here at the Purge have absolute proof of reptilians because they did a IgG on an iguana, and it turns out it had royal blood history in England.
Yeah, 23andMe.
So listen, don't knock it until you try. But I wanted to comment on that, Rock, is that that is something I hope that I would think to do, is to turn around and look back and see space. Because, yeah, obviously you're going to be distracted and focused on the white light, right?
Right.
And then you turn around and it's a whole separate reality. That is you've never heard that before. It's like a thinker got in there and had the near-death experience or whatever it is. That's crazy. A royal iguana angel.
Well, apparently there was a great big galactic war, and there's good guys and bad guys, and somehow the bad guys have our souls trapped in this reincarnation machine. And I'm going to tell you a funny story, bro. One of my best friends of all time, my friend Pete, back in the 90s, one day, we were drunk and smoking some stuff, and he looks at me and he goes, hey, you know that white light when you die that we all heard about? I go, yeah. He goes, it's the reincarnation machine. I'm like, what? I never even thought of it until years later, and I saw this guy on this video basically say the same thing. Now, how my friend Pete knew about it, living in Oakfield, Maine, in 1992, 1990, I have no idea. The guy's a genius, though. We didn't even have the internet back then.
Nope, no internet. Well, they had it. They just didn't. It wasn't on the Commodore 64
I think he just came up with it because, dude, he's a genius.
What's his name?
His name's Pete. I've been in a couple bands with him. I mean, his musical skills are like out of this world, man. Out of this world.
All right, so what else going on, brother?
Okay, next on my list, last thing I got here. Have you heard of DeepSeek?
That's the AI, the new AI that's really expensive, and it's like a chat GPT, right?
Close. You're right, except for the expensive part.
Well, it's free right now.
Well, here's the thing. It crashed the stock market the other day.
Say again?
It crashed the stock market the other day.
Crashed it?
Not like, but like $1 trillion, because the American AI companies took a big hit.
Who owns this one?
Because DeepSeek is Chinese. And they said, with this model, it can learn for $5 million, not $1 billion, like the American companies. But then come to find out, apparently they possibly stole the information from ChatGPT. That's why it cost a lot less. But then to top it off, have you heard of the company NVIDIA?
Yeah, the graphics cards.
So, the United States does not sell them to China. But some Chinese dude has a dude, and he bought a bunch of them. And there's a video of him on there going, yeah, people are telling me I'm doing something illegal, but it isn't, because China allows them in, but America doesn't allow them to be sold to China. So there's that loophole, right? But anyway, that's where they're stealing our tech and beating our ass at it.
Just like with the cars in the 70s with the Toyotas.
Oh my God. You just brought up something else. I've seen a couple videos out of China. Actually, it was an Andrew Tate video talking about Chinese vehicles.
Yeah.
Not a fan of Andrew Tate. I don't hate him, but I'm not a fan. But he's a talking head, so I listen once in a while. But some of the cars they got over there for like 20 grand are like incredible. Now, I'm not behind China, because there was also another story that came out. A couple people tried to escape the Apple plant and got beat up by the Chinese authorities. It's on video.
The Foxconn plant?
Yep, Foxconn. Yep, you're right.
While we're on...
And I'm an Apple guy. It makes me sick to my stomach.
Well, guess what? Guess this is really going to blow your mind if you haven't seen this yet. I saw a video yesterday, and the guy said, how much do you think it cost to make this iPhone 14 in China?
Yeah, $10.
$10.
Yep.
$10.
Because it's cheap labor.
People are spending $2,000 on a phone to have the latest whatever, or Apple will make it obsolete.
Yep.
And it's a $10. The profit margin is insane. And I guess it was
Here's the funny thing, though. All the phones are made there.
Right.
And here's another interesting thing. Remember we're going to ban TikTok because they're getting all our information.
Right.
Dude, your phone is made in China. You don't think they already got it?
They see and hear everything, yeah. They have, anyway, I think I talked about it on the last Purge. I don't want to bore everybody with it, but they have a problem with the cars. You know how we have the whole history of building the internal combustion engine and the whole history of motorsports and cars, and along the way we learned as regular people to fix them. Well, they don't have that history in China. So literally when they get like a flat tire, they get rid of the car, or if it needs an oil change, or they don't change the oil, they don't do any kind of maintenance.
Oh, they just run it till it's dead and get a new one.
They run it, and so there's this glut, like shopping mall parking lots full of all these used cars that nobody will ever touch because they can't fix them. Isn't that...
Now,
yeah.
That's fascinating, because if you just position that against Cuba,
who has no... Yeah.
are driving American vehicles from the 60s and have kept them running this whole time.
Yeah.
What a difference.
Yeah, I've heard them making the filters out of coffee filters and using garden hoses to fix the car. It's amazing.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, that's a glut of garbage over there in China, and they don't really have the environmental restrictions at all that we have in place, for sure. So you have 7 billion people over there polluting the crap out of the world, and it's like, oh, make sure you recycle your Starbucks cup. It's like, dude. Plus, we send all our garbage, all our recyclable computers and stuff like that, all our tech, back to China to be recycled, and they pull the gold out and melt down the plastic and all that stuff. What are you drinking, a beer?
Huh?
I thought I heard you crack a beer.
Oh, no.
So, all right. Well, what else do you think?
The one other thing I was going to say about China, which I didn't have written down, but you just reminded me. Remember when TikTok was down for a day there last week?
Yeah, everybody panicked.
Well, I saw all these videos of these kids going on this other Chinese social media app, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe how awesome they have it in China. Their groceries are cheap and everybody's got a nice place to live. And I was just like, I might have said this on one of the last times I called in, but it's like, dude, that's all propaganda. They only let out certain stuff. They want us to think this certain way. But anyway, my point is, since TikTok came back on, I haven't seen one video of anybody talking about that other one. Red Dot or whatever it was called.
Well, you know what China did with TikTok is.
Oh yeah, hey, I just want to say Jimmy's here with me.
Oh, what up, Jimmy?
Yeah, he just walked in, so I'll have him say what up to everybody. What up, chat?
What's going on, brother? Welcome in, man.
He can't hear you because I got my Bluetooth speaker in my ear.
Oh, that's all good. Well,
we're just sitting here doing illegal stuff, you know what I mean?
All right, well, you guys have fun partying, and we're gonna
micro partying, but yeah, chilling like villains.
Cool. I'd swing over if I didn't have to work tomorrow.
What do you have on the agenda to ask me?
I think we covered everything more and more actually. So, oh, you got Esther Hahn from Portland, Maine, stopping in with her lobsters.
Oh, I'm from Maine.
Yeah, she. I think you've chatted with her before. She's in the chat right now. But
maybe it's hard to keep up with the chat while I'm chatting on the phone.
Yeah, I understand. Well, I'll let you guys get after it. I'd come by and chill with you for a minute if I didn't have to work again at 5 a.m. But
you're welcome. Woke up 1984. Woo!
Yeah, thank you very much, brother, for being in. And that's Rockford, everybody. And I'll check you later, brother.
All right, Bees to Purge. Don't forget to subscribe, hit like, and send that motherfucker some dough.
All right, thanks, brother. See ya. All right, everybody, that's Rockford tonight. And we got Jenn coming in a little bit. She had a birthday to celebrate with the fam, and maybe we'll do what's next here on the agenda. Let's play a little quick. Well, I'm gonna jump ahead. Actually, played this one. Accident. What else we got today? Okay, so this is the thing in the thing, and I'll go ahead and play that. Let me do a quick old thing here. Rolo Mato in the house. Rolo with a killer video today. And
this year, the Super Bowl is free to stream on Tubi. Remember to show up for the game fashionably early to catch the red carpet with Olivia Culpo. Register now to catch all the game day action. Free with Tubi.
So, suspected Idaho killer Brian Kohlberger is due back in court this morning for the second day of a critical pretrial hearing, and his defense is now pushing for nearly all of the evidence against him to be thrown out, potentially derailing the prosecution's case ahead of the trial that is in August. Kayla Gonzalez was one of the 4 students who lost their lives in the 2022 attack. Her father, Steve Gonzalez, joins us right now. Good morning, Steve. It's been
all right, so that was something I had from I didn't get to play the last show. This was the other thing.
Coming at you fast. Frontier Fiber 7 gig on Wi-Fi 7 plus Wi-Fi security. Whole home Wi.
We went through La Jolla, we went through Pullman, and this is Moscow, guys. So let's take a look driving into Moscow here, and let me get my thing ready. Oh no! What are we in Britain? But here we go. We're gonna get into downtown just to give you a feel of the town before we start talking about it, give them their propers and stuff. This show brought to you by Orange Drink today. Here we come up on Main Street now. Hard left. Kane's truck. I think we're gonna wind up here at the corner club in just a minute. Unless we went the opposite way, I'm not sure. I don't have my GPS on. Scare the crap out of lady. Okay. There are big buildings there, huh? Okay, I think we turned off now. Going back out of town. And there's the tour of Moscow, everybody. Better watch out, Popo. Alright, let's see what's up next here tonight. Thank you, everybody, for being with us tonight.
But yeah, that's my mom. She gave birth to me. I will defend this woman. I will die for this woman. So I get out of the car, and I start yelling at this guy. What the hell did you just say? What the hell? Get out here. Get out here, you son of a bitch. Let's go, asshole. And he gets out of the car. I'm like, oh, shit, this is actually happening right now. Okay, this is going to come as a shock to you people. I don't know how to fight. No such thing as midget UFC, okay? There should be midget UFC. That would be awesome. Like me and Wee Man in a ball pit at Chuck E. Cheese. Like, let's get it on. You know what I mean? It's not. So I don't know how to fight. The only fighting I know is stuff I learned from video games in the 90s. This guy's charging at me, and I have some weird instinct. I just look at him and I go, Hadouken! I just say Hadouken. Now, for those of you who don't know what that is, I will explain. There was a video game in the 90s called Street Fighter 2. Okay? Street Fighter. Yeah. There were two characters in that game. They wouldn't just punch and kick. No, they would yell out Hadouken, and they would throw a fireball from their hands. A fireball, because that might be useful in a fight. Punch, kick, fireball. It works. And that's what I do. I'm like, I don't know, Hadouken. I just yelled it out. You think I'm crazy, but this shows you how much people don't know about little people. I yelled out Hadouken. This guy flinched and then like ran away. He ran away. Do you understand what that means? That means that when I yelled out Hadouken, this guy thought, well, he is a dwarf. He can probably throw a fireball. I'm booking it. At that point, I would give all of my money, to be there when this guy told his friends this story. No, bro, you have no idea what happened to me, man. I yelled at this woman today. She got pissed off. She had a button on her car. An attack midget just like ran out of her car like that. And the attack midget starts throwing fireballs at me. I had to
All right, let's keep going here. Let's see what else I have today. Fake toll road text sweeps America as Chinese scammers target U.S. drivers. And I brought this one up because I got one of these, and my buddy Brian there down the street here pops in once in a while, had gotten a legit toll road thing, but they sent me a text, and I'm like, DMV doesn't have my phone number? How did this happen? And this is literally the text they send you. So everybody be aware of that scam, that they are trying to somehow scam you through a text about toll roads. Okay, and this was Audrey's cDNA. Let's check this out. It's pretty cool.
Information. It's your whole genome that gets profiled. Maybe the SNP that uploads into MyHeritage, which it shouldn't have. SNP that uploads into MyHeritage, which it shouldn't have. SNP that uploads into MyHeritage, which it shouldn't have. Maybe that SNP doesn't tell you certain things about a health profile, but the potentiality is there in the SNP profile. For $12, you can upload that profile and find out all kinds of personal health information. It's the potentiality of that, and that's the Carpenter case.
I'm muted. I'm sorry. Okay, I just wanted to stop. While we're talking about the DNA, I wanted to say that this company here, MyHeritage, I believe, advertises that for $12 or whatever it is, that they can find your heritage through the least amount of DNA submitted, something along those lines. Anyway, sorry, I was muted.
If you like to eat healthy, this might be the
I guess I could have read that, but it just says Othram or Borland genetics, or by combining data with multiple individuals into a new data file. The octillion statistic. Hold on, wait. The octillion statistic is dubious. Brian Koberger was falsely arrested. So if they got to him with the IgG, why don't they use it as the probable cause? It's a good question. All right, and so let's see what's going on here. So decades-old murders, disappearances along Idaho Road go unsolved for more than 50 years. A series of disappearances and murders along a northern Idaho highway have remained unsolved despite several suspects being investigated. Victims were found on both sides of the Washington-Idaho border in the 70s and 80s, which means a serial killer could still be living near a college community. At least 5 victims are thought to have been kidnapped and murdered by the same individual between 1979 and 1982 near Lewis Clark Valley, southwest of Moscow, Idaho. These unsolved murders, in which one young victim was found dismembered and stuffed into garbage bags, have left numerous people's lives shattered for a half a century and counting. Investigation Discovery featured the stories in a 2018 documentary titled Cold Valley, which helped jumpstart the investigation. To this day, no one has been brought to justice for the crimes. The story of Lewis Clark Valley serial murders has been featured in news articles, podcasts, social media, and documentaries. A 2023 news article by Hub Pages sparked a renewed interest in the case, which many witnesses reported a man approaching women along Highway 95 between Genesee and Moscow, Idaho. This person of interest was never identified. And that is the Cold Valley documentary there. I will play enough of it to get the... Well, I'll put the link to this article if you would like to check out that documentary. It is pretty interesting. Something to consider. Alright, let's keep moving on. Thank you for being here, everybody. I'm Kane B. I'll be taking care of you tonight. I appreciate you being here. If you're new to the Purge, please hit that subscribe button and go ahead and hit like. It's free. And come on in the chat. Meanie don't bite. Let's go.
All of that speculation, my theory, my personal opinion, and my findings. This all for entertainment, and everybody mentioned here is innocent to proven guilty in a court of law. Alright, so I'm going to hit you guys on with this new method I'm trying out. So let's see what we can see right here. But first check this out, alright? Trip out.
This case is not about the Banfield. This is where a lot of the guilters and a lot of these folks that are arguing about who did it and who didn't do it, they're not really looking at what's in front of them. This case is not about the Banfield.
What a clown. So anyways, let's show these non-believers.
I was actually on that live when he said that, and I was like, man, I am not going to get between him and Rolamato. I'm just not going to do it.
What's up, you know? So
I'll tell you in a minute, Angel.
I'm trying out this new method.
We're gonna go there.
I noticed some of them, my last ones, they've been a little too bright, so it's kind of hard to make out some things. So I'm gonna try it now in a little darker mode. And this is without the blur app, you know. So see, you know, just pay attention right now, right there. Look at all the movements right there, all right? So, and remember, this is where the last picture was taken, was right on top, right there out on the top of the right side of the screen. On that balcony right there, that's where the last picture was taken. You can see people right there standing right now, but like they're blurred out also. I mean, but trip on right there, see the people out there. I mean, yeah. I mean, you're not gonna see them clearly, obviously, you know. Come on, I mean, it's just fucking tempered. But you know, look right there in the little window. See the people right there. I mean, see what's going on. When you see red, it's because it's on red fluid, you know. Body, you know, blood. That's when you see the lows, you know. When it turns red, like right there, you know, certain times it's because of the wounds, you know. Look, see that some person's arm? Like he has somebody like with his arm like holding her or the person, and I mean attacking them with something, a weapon. There's another person right there. That saw that? Oh shit! Damn, I just noticed. This fucking somebody gets. Oh fuck! It looks like somebody got sliced in their throat. Oh fuck! That was the first time I noticed that part. That's crazy. Oh shit! I mean, you guys could zoom in, you know, like even like put it in a little bit of more slow motion. Right there where it looks red on the bottom, that's another victim. And there's somebody on the top over there, like, and where it looks red over there too, you know. Man, that was crazy. Shit, I haven't caught that shit right now. But yeah, okay, this is like different settings. So basically it's like the same video but different kind of concentrate on them. This is from the same video but different screen recording from, you know, different concentrating more like on the whole area, you know, not just right there. But yeah, you see what on the left side, on the bottom, way at the bottom over there, that's somebody right there. Yeah, you can see the person. I mean, there's something going on over there. Could zoom in over there, like where, like you'll see. And when the car starts moving, you can see somebody standing right here, also, like looking towards the officer. So yeah, that's crazy. Let's see right here. We see the same thing right here when it's moving. Right there. Let's throw. It's right there. Oh shit. I think it's right here. Now it's gonna be right here. Watch how the red substance fly. I mean, you're gonna be able to see it right now. Look at where the guy's the arm and the elbows are. Look right here, you're gonna see. See the guy's face right there? Somebody? Like, oh, where's all white? Yeah. That's the person right there, standing right there. That's the person. I mean, over there, way up there, like there's something going on too. Look at the top right there. There's somebody standing over there, way up by the 3.0. Just make out his head right there. Where the zeros are, the X, there's somebody standing up there. And then another person to the left, and then in the bottom too. Way at the bottom, look, you can see, I mean, something you're gonna see right now, red stuff also.
I will say that this is another perspective to Banfield, and whatever he is using, the images are much more clear. So that is some kick-ass stuff, and I wanted to play that for you guys here.
Look, or it looks like whitish red. Yeah. Look at the people right there on the side of it. We're trying to blend it in with like the bush. Look at the on the right side of the screen right there. Look, in the middle. It casino tag right there too. Look. And when it stops, you're gonna be able to see someone in a black cloak. The face right there in the middle of the screen. You can see the face. You see all that black? Look, that's somebody right there. Look at the top, right there where the 4.6 of that, a little bit to the right, that's a face. Or a little more to the top, look. That's a person's face, look, see that? Right there, the green, where it was green. That green line. That's crazy, I don't know where that green line came out of. See, that's all that editing you saw. You guys saw that green line? That just appeared right away. That's the editing that I mean to overlay, to blur out, so we won't see the shit that's going on. Right there where it looks black, look, that's how it looks right there. See that? He's gonna walk around behind the car, and that's when he comes like and does that little act, like walks behind the officer. You know what I mean? This guy. Look at right there. Look, what's going on right there? Look at the bottom, right there in the middle of the screen at the bottom, way at the bottom. That's somebody's face. Look at the top too. Look, there's somebody where it says box or body. Look at the face. Look at the right corner, right top of the corner is a face. In the bottom, there's a face. Right to the bottom right corner.
He's definitely bringing some good stuff there, and we got the link here in the chat for you guys. Check out the rest of that video. I have to shut it down early, and I still have a lot of stuff to get to. So, hey, Toes, welcome in. We got Rollamata here. Miss Potts in the house. And what have I got right here? This is the other Rollo. This was a post from Heather, I believe. And it's the bio, the auto bio, I guess, of Bill Thompson. You can find out what you should know about him, why did he become a prosecutor. And I love this. Protecting everyone's rights definitively describes my philosophy and my duties and responsibilities as the Latah County prosecuting attorney. I mean, okay. Suck it, Bill. All right, and next one, here we go.
This is supposed to be a routine traffic stop for a defective brake light.
Any heroin in the car?
No, there are no drugs in the car. There are no guns in the car.
All right, what about like methamphetamine?
There are no drugs in the car.
Okay. What about
of
pills?
any kind? There are no drugs in the car.
What about like small amounts of marijuana?
No marijuana.
Okay.
But this cop has taken some classes. He knows everything now.
I'm trained up, right? So I've attended several classes. All right, do you consent to a search of
No.
the vehicle? No, you
I do not.
And he thinks he's going to catch a drug runner.
We're waiting for a dog.
I guess they had to bring in the dog here.
Buddy, for an equipment violation, they can only hold that individual for a reasonable amount of time, and that is the amount of time it takes to write a ticket or a warning for that equipment violation. This is supposed to be a routine traffic stop.
Yeah, the message there was they can only hold you for a limited amount of time for an equipment violation. And let me play that again here, I'm sorry.
For a defective brake light.
Any heroin?
They can only hold that individual for a reasonable amount of time, and that is the amount of time it takes to write a ticket or a warning for that equipment violation. This is supposed to be...
So, keep that in mind. If they do ask you if you can search your car, say, no, I do not consent to a search. And if they decide to do it anyway, then without probable cause, they've violated your rights. Okay, and there's a lot of times these dogs are trained to just sit, and they'll just sit even if they don't smell anything. And then they get to tear apart your car. So the corruption is insane. All right. I'm glad he's out there helping people. So here is, let me see if, no, okay. Brian Kohlberger case, Idaho judge to unseal transcript of closed door hearing. And they have a little interview here with Steve G. But as you know,
So suspected Idaho killer Brian Kohlberger is due back in court this morning for the
they will, I guess that's twice I played that. It'll be interesting to see when we get it how redacted. They're saying it's going to be redacted. And so what are they going to redact? Jules was the only other creator, Jules of True Crime Trades or whatever, that seemed to agree with me. Now, Miss Potts has her own theory on it too about whether or not Dylan and Bethany were on the Zoom call. It does seem less likely that is the case at this point. And I wonder if we're going to hear from them in the future, because I think their story, at least Dylan's story, is going to be discredited. But that'll be up to the courts to decide, of course.
Did you know that Amazon...
When can I retire?
A decision that could impact the evidence we see during Brian Kohlberger's upcoming trial. He's accused of stabbing 4 University of Idaho students to death in 2022 in Moscow. While in court today in Ada County, his attorneys continuing to accuse law enforcement of violating Kohlberger's constitutional rights to tie him to the quadruple murder. Dakota Cassette's Didier explains.
Investigative genetic genealogy. It's a technique employed by law enforcement and forensics investigators when found DNA doesn't match any results through law enforcement databases, as was the case when police found touch or trace DNA on the sheath of a knife that was found at the scene of the murders in Moscow. Employing IgG, investigators look at the variations within the DNA sample acquired and create an SNP or SNP, which are then uploaded to private databases, commonly Ancestry services. In court on Friday, Kohlberger's defense arguing that the dissemination of that SNP from law enforcement to private DNA databases violated Brian Kohlberger's privacy rights, as no legal warrant was obtained to do so, and could have violated the FBI's interim policy on genetic genealogy practices. The argument stands in contrast to an American legal doctrine known as third-party doctrine, which states people who voluntarily give information to a third party, such as in the case of the Ancestry service websites, have no reasonable expectation of privacy, which the defense appears to be challenging.
The tricky thing is what's called the third-party doctrine, right? So if I have a gum wrapper in my pocket and I throw it in the trash can when I leave today, I've said, this is my thing, you can't have it. But then the second I throw it in the trash, I don't care who gets it, right? That's the decision the Supreme Court's made. That's outside my reasonable expectation of privacy. Now, if I make a phone call, I might have more of an expectation of privacy in who I'm calling and what I'm saying, because I expect that to be hidden, to be confidential. There's a tricky thing here where the court has to kind of weigh whether this genetic testing is within that phone call or within the trash can.
The prosecution responding by pointing out that Kohlberger has never asserted he provided his own DNA to a genealogy site and then had it misused, nor does he have any right to privacy for DNA left at a crime scene. Multiple points of contention were brought up by the defense regarding the handling of DNA and Kohlberger's evidence file by law enforcement, as Corporal Brett Payne, the lead detective on the case for the Moscow Police Department, was called as a witness. All of these deliberations based around the defense's desire to see a Franks hearing, where the court could examine whether or not DNA in the case was handled with proper warrants.
Anytime you're dealing with a search warrant of any sort, that search warrant has to be based off of some verifiable data. They take those to the court and they say, Judge, I want to search this thing because I believe, based off these facts,
there's evidence there that's helpful to us. Now, Frank's hearing is where you're telling the judge, look, the police either lied in what they put in that search warrant, or they recklessly withheld some truth or some evidence that they had. They didn't tell the judge about it. And in order to get a Frank's hearing, the defendant actually has to prove, to some extent, they have to show substantial evidence that they've got some proof that that happened.
Judge Stephen Hippler closing the two-day hearing early Friday afternoon, saying that he would need to do further research before ruling on whether or not there would be a Frank's hearing based on what was presented, saying he would issue his decision in writing at a later date. Kohberger pleaded not guilty to the murders of Madison Mogen, Kaylee Gonsalves.
It is going to be very interesting to see how Hippler reacts to this, as there does seem to be more than enough evidence that they hid information, at least. Not to mention that they lied. But I think that if he makes a bad move and decides not to hear it, that will be something that will work against him in the future. And like I said, law schools will be looking at this case over and over and over. And when I say over and over and over, when you talk about glitter and touch DNA, that's exactly right. So I think Miss Potts said it the other day, your DNA is now in somebody else's crime scene because you touched a bottle, your skin got on somebody else's shirt, something like that. So the chances that your DNA, and there's all kinds of cases. Now, with the military, they will not accept skin cell or touch or whatever DNA as evidence. It's not allowed. The military. And several states don't allow it. So when you lose, technically, this knife sheath, what else do you have? What else do you have? And they're trying to say they have him tracked on the phone, and that's a complete disaster in itself. So, what reason do you have to hold this guy? Let's find out who those other two DNAs, and maybe we can link it to Kohberger. Maybe Kohberger is involved, and I don't think he is. I haven't seen anything good that he is. And we'll get into the map stuff in a second. Just hold on. Let's keep going. And so this was Mrs. Potts here, or Miss Potts, I'm sorry. And so in all her snarkiness here, she's got the guess what, folks? We thought we had it all, and then they pulled me back in. 22nd. It's historic. 22nd supplemental request for discovery submitted. Some will have you believing the state has turned everything over. Laugh out loud. They have not. So there it is, right there in writing. And that's another thing that law schools will be looking very closely at. All right, let's keep rocking.
What is your boyfriend's job?
He's a pilot.
Wow, you were supposed to say I don't have a boyfriend. All right. A pilot. Whoa, that's a sexy job, right? It's obviously under comedian, but what airline? Oh, okay, so he's just a guy with a uniform and a dream at the moment. Has he ever even flown? Is he? No. He's focusing on being the passenger at the moment, but where is he tonight? Running up and down the runway, making... He's practicing. L.A. Okay, cool. This sounds made up. And what do you do, young man? Everyone's fascinated with you. You're trying to have sex with this lady. You're lying what you do. Yeah. What is your boyfriend's job?
Too funny. Okay, and rocking on here. We're almost there, guys. Okay, let's see. This Swamp Rose posted, I think came from Christie, Nevada. And The lawyer for Kohlberger attorney Jay Logston said in one filing that investigators had to destroy the house to save the car or some other evidence from Mr. Kohlberger's rubber gloves. Attorneys for Brian Kohlberger allege evidence mishandling. Call for prosecutors to be sanctioned. Now, a lot of people like, Sarge and everybody are like, they should go to jail. Twiz said they should go to jail. The most we can hope for is them to retire, maybe get fired, maybe get a Brady, which they deserve. But, I don't know. Okay, anyway, so moving on. This is something that is troublesome. No more government assistance. And let me flip myself around here. And this is a temporary move to try to balance out the nuttiness. With the exceptions of Social Security and Medicare, the government has paused issuing grants, loans, and other forms of financial assistance. That means funding for schools, funding for disaster relief, grants for state and local governments, and home buying assistance. Nobody knows exactly what will happen or for how long this will go on. They also don't know whether it's legal. This was done by the Office of Management and Budget under the direction of Donald Trump, not Congress, which generally gets say over how much funds are directed. This temporary pause will provide the administration time to review agency programs and determine the best uses of the funds. And again, you can sit there and say, oh, I feel bad about the way they treat Amazon employees. But when you really look at it, what else are they taking from us with these billionaires all being in charge? And I don't think, you guys, there's a lot of hope. Me and Rock were talking about the other day. A lot of hope for small businesses to come back. And they're not encouraging it. And here, they've literally directly cut the funding. As if it wasn't hard enough already. So that's something else I do not like. Okay, we got that one 3 or 4 times now, and let's see here. So this is a look into cracking the genome, and you have the chromosome and you have the genome. Chromosome was cracked by UCSD, I think in the 80s when I was there. They had this big double helix spiral in the library. It's an open air. Our library goes up like 5 stories. And the helix was in the middle of this model. It's beautiful. Really cool time to be living on campus. I lived on campus at that time. And there was a lot of really cool stuff. There was one project a student did that was 24/7, the 7 virtues and the 7 vices. And it would just flash, and back then an LED screen was a big deal, and you would just see it, in the 80s, 90s, or whatever. Anyway, so with this, at that time, I did mention in one of the chats, if you guys caught it, that at that time when they cracked the chromosome, they did not, it's not that they had reservations, they did not want to share the science with law enforcement because they knew that they would misuse it. And hey, P Fox, welcome in. You're never too late. The government made them hand it over, and of course, this is San Diego. They have lengthy experience with law enforcement. Believe me. I lived on campus in graduate housing, typically unique, at UCSD in La Jolla. I didn't go to school there. I was going to attend some classes because they were just discussion classes, but I never did. I ended up going to the community college, the Mesa College there in Claremont. And I went to St. Pete College here for business and for digital design. Anyway, all the digital design stuff's changed so much now. This I'm going to play from right here. Check this out.
Police forensics lab, and FBI agents, to name a few. So what those entities have and have developed are within the possession and control of the prosecutor. So with that backdrop, I want to run through our specific requests and talk about what we need. You've heard testimony, and so I think you know why these things are material, but let's go over it again. Starting with the fourth motion to compel. Ms. Massoff went over 1A, the grand jury subpoenas. I'm going to leave that argument alone. She did a fabulous job with that.
Twiz, they went from the sleeping judge to the hanging judge, right? All right.
When we're looking at 2A, this all comes from the defendant's 11th supplemental request for discovery. 2A is the video on King Street. Your Honor, we began asking for that a long time ago. We have it in full, so we don't have to talk about that. We received that full for all of the hours and days in question with both audio and video on 510. So we can mark 2A, item 219 off of our list.
219.
219.
And I've gone through pages and pages and pages, so I think I really appreciate you being very specific about, what you have now and what you will still.
Okay. Good, because it's the only way I can keep track of it.
Yeah, well, same here. Thank you.
You're welcome. Your Honor,
So here we are, 11 requests for discovery later. And I don't know that she's gotten the King Road footage. Oh, man. It's pretty nuts. All right, let's keep moving on. How was Chelsea's show, Twiz? I was going to... Everybody's been asking for you and Heather, and I was going to come and pop in and watch for a minute. If you're not familiar with Chelsea Whitaker, you may want to join in our chats and check. She does quite a frequent amount of shows, and she is full of great information from beginning to end. Am I freezing up? What's going on here? Here we go. Okay, so check her out if somebody doesn't mind putting a link to Chelsea Whitaker. They did a show with Twiz's Maps tonight, so I was planning on, after I do Heather stuff and I do Jenn, I can't stay too late, guys. I got another hour in me, and then I got to go to bed. Sounds weird to say. Okay, so the genetic code here, it started in the 20s, big discoveries on DNA in the 60s, and RNA and DNA, and it was something it tells you something that from the very beginning they wanted to, they were literally forced to give up to law enforcement this tool, because first of all, it wasn't really ready. It's not an exact science. And Sarge did make a yes, I did, Miss Potts. Thank you. I've been there 2 days, and the great thing, I have daily pay. I guess I selected. I didn't know, so I get paid every day. I can get caught up here before the shake of a cat whisper. I asked my boss about it, and she's like, I don't think so. No, okay, well, yeah, that's fine. I haven't even opened my pay card account yet, but it keeps telling me that I have money in there. So I'm like, hey, cool. And I love it there. I was saying earlier that I just do my own thing, and nobody bothers me, get my job done, go home. The day goes by quick. Unfortunately, my Amazon knee is acting screwy, but both my bosses, really cool. Everybody I worked with is really nice. And it's just the perfect hours. Yeah. I'm afraid that they're taking out a thank you, Danger Zone. I'm afraid they're taking out an extra penance for me getting the daily pay. I worry about I don't think so. But anyway, so yeah, that's going very well. Let's see what else here. Okay. You have to ask yourselves why 510. This is a still shot from a video. Link below, see for yourselves. And I'll scroll to the bottom. If you look at Madison's feet, there is a step up. You see? And so that would make somebody look taller. Whatever. If they walked by you, though, it's a I don't know. It's all a dream, you guys. It's all a dream. All right, here we go. This is Heather. We gotta get through her ads now. We can't just get right to Heather anymore. Oh, this is Val Evans. I'm sorry. This is okay. She is. Believe it or not, okay,
Yeah,
check this out. She does the, I think this is astrology, numerology kind of stuff. Her and this young lady here, Amber. And this is one of Heather's favorite channels. And I tuned in the other day for a minute there. Angel D was in there. And she threatened to wrench me if I didn't give my mouth shut. And she's not only easy on the eyes, she is actually one of the most informed people on Idaho 4, and they use all this astrology stuff to come up with solutions to the, and they do a fine job. Check this out.
A lot of you are probably going to notice the yod here, and that is the little green, it's like a little rectangle here. And this could also be, it could be a weapon. It could be an attack, the attack of the twins, which is Mercury or Gemini, and the girls who were twinning. And also there was a triplet, which is a twin. And so that was all right there in the 5th house. This is a party. This is a holiday. So, you've got a perpetrator here and a perpetrator here. I don't know. We've talked about this before about whether it's 1 or 2 people. What do you think? As far as perpetrators, did he act alone?
I will reserve my logic side and go to my intuitive, and I'll pull a card for that question.
Okay.
Oh, we always get this card. It's 3 people. It's kind of a theme of threes. I had the 3 of Cups, 3 women in the reverse. Started with the 3 of Swords. Now we have that 3 of Pentacles working together. They're in a secret tower, collaborating.
Collaboration.
Strategizing. And it's about doing something terrible. The Jupiter, this is like Jupiter retrograde. This is the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. It's like it's a bad thing. And someone is done. It's done.
I'm totally convinced. I mean, totally, especially after this is such a validation. And if you look at this chart, now remember the sun is a co-ruler of a perpetrator, and so strange that Mercury is pretty close conjunct, as it normally is, to Mercury. Now, you're not going to have twin perpetrators every time, even though you are going to have the sun and Mercury, but it's pretty close together there and very aspected. And also with that yod there, it does look like there are some secrets here. There's a group of perps, and he doesn't look like he would collaborate with anyone.
So this is from yesterday. Actually, somebody woke up, asked, and I don't know that they think Brian's guilty. I think they're just going by the card stuff that they come up with and whatever. It was very an interesting look into this. So if you want to check it out, there's the link right there. That's Val Evans.
You think I can lift?
I don't know. Think you can?
What's down there?
No, there's nobody in there.
Will I help you?
Think you can?
I guess, yeah.
All right, we'll see. No, I'll go in there. I'll go in there.
Sure?
Yep.
Don't get bit by no alligators.
Hopefully not. Yeah, it's not gonna. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get that out. It's all cast iron. It's pretty heavy.
What if we all just grab the grate and pull it out?
You think we could?
Probably.
Who's my strongest guys?
Him.
You think you're strong?
No, I got it.
You guys think we can MacGyver something? You guys don't even know what MacGyver is? No, probably not.
Hold up.
Ready? Oh! Oh!
Yeah, JJ! The trick is you put it on diamond and then you turn it in so it doesn't fall.
Community teamwork. Thank you, guys.
Good save there. If somebody had walked and fallen into that, I won't do that. Okay. This was a sad story there, I believe, out of Idaho, and you can read the headline here. And this just another American tragedy, unfortunately, here. I can't believe that this persists. I really can't. I pray for this world. Alright. I think we... Oh, I didn't do this one yet. Let me get this one here. I might have done this. Let me see. Let's check it out. Yeah, it wouldn't play before. Okay, now we got it.
Barnett wanting to escape division.
It's funny because you guys don't get this commercial where you are. This is Lake Tarpon. This is the piers that they built. It's real nice. They have a... This is actually Brooker Creek Park, which my brother helped build back in the early 80s. And that's the... that's a very wealthy... This leads out eventually through a series of canals to the bay. And it's a pretty big lake. A lot of gators out there.
A drunk driver killed Miguel Artiga as he waited to...
Division and political tension in the U.S. are drivers for those considering a move to another country. This includes racial tension.
Okay, I don't know why they always put the video of something else. Tucson, Arizona. The Tucson Police Department is investigating after a woman was found dead in Washington. The TPD said if officers responded to a call in the area of East 22nd Street and South Park Avenue on Monday, January 27th, officers found the body of 39-year-old Andrea Marie Padilla in Washington near 21st and South Euclid Avenue. No suspects are currently in custody, and anyone with information, call Crime Stoppers. So this is a map of the violent crimes in 2025 in Tucson. And if you remember, through all the stuff that's come up with the trafficking pipeline that they have, and apparently Phoenix and that go to through Pullman and Seattle over to Moscow as being an alleged hub of trafficking of all kinds and sorts. So I thought that was interesting. They don't have a suspect. The body turns up. Doing a great job. Okay, so... Ooh, my computer is slow. I thought that was right up there with that Bluetooth flashlight, so I wanted to play that. This is from Rochelle.
Yeah, she just failed. Look at the face print in this.
I like to stop.
Those poles are dangerous, let me tell you. Oh no. Anyway, thank you for yourself for that. So here's another fine example of the work over there in the Pacific Northwest. Case against WSU student dropped after defense presents new information. 20-year-old J.C. Carnahan was charged with assault after a female student accused him, and Whitman County senior prosecutors said they dropped the case because they received new information from Carnahan's private defense attorney out of Seattle. Skoll says the new details meant her case was no longer provable to a jury beyond a reasonable doubt. Scholl tells Pullman Radio News that she still believes the victim. She has since left WSU. Carnahan was kicked out of his frat. He is still listed as a WSU student. Moving on. WSU fraternity suspended for alleged allegations of hazing, physical harm, drugs, and alcohol violations. A Washington State University fraternity has been suspended pending investigation into several allegations, including hazing. According to a recent post on the WSU website, the Alpha Sigma Phi House is being investigated for an incident from last fall. The allegations including hazing, physical harm, reckless endangerment, and alcohol and drug violations, according to the webpage. Alpha Sigma Phi House is currently suspended from all chapter activities. The same house was sanctioned in 2020 for hazing, alcohol, and drug violations. The state of Washington's SAMS laws require WSU to publicly report information online about allegations of Greek row violations. The law was crafted after WSU student Sam Martinez died in 2019 of alcohol poisoning following an Alpha Tau Omega party. The Washington State Court of Appeals recently found WSU liable in Martinez's death, as you know from the article we had last time. All right. This is a follow-up before I get to Heather's thing, and it is something that's definitely being discussed around here with these people you have that have retired to Florida, and they're on fixed incomes. You're retired, right? And check this out.
What will you do when the power goes out? Power outages can be unpredictable and inconvenient, but with a Generac home standby generator, your life goes on uninterrupted because you'll have power when you need it the most.
The number one thing to prepare for is extended power outages. Don't make it so hard on yourself. Have a Generac home standby generator.
And special financing and low monthly payment options are available. Call or go online now to request your free quote. Power your life with Generac.
And 8 on your side's Lenny Supal live tonight with more. Lenny.
Well, these residents say they are caught in the condo crisis and that their HOA dues are out of control and damage inside the building long overdue for repairs. Life at Port Brittany is quiet, but the cost of living in paradise leaving many residents priced out.
I got to buy food, and I put a tank of gas in my car, and that's it. I can't do anything. I'm housebound.
Right now, they're faced with steep assessments and HOA dues, insurance spikes, and state mandates requiring fully funded reserves, driving up the cost.
Insurance goes up every year. Yeah.
but we don't know what insurance is going to pay for.
Owners remember a time when condo living was affordable, but over the next year, they'll be up against the challenge of covering the costs to stay.
I've been here about 3 years. My assessments have doubled. My HOAs have doubled. And I've paid over $20,000 in additional assessments.
They're hoping the money will expedite projects like this ceiling in need of repair. But while they wait for the project to be completed, their patience is wearing thin.
With the assessments and my HOAs that have gone up from $471 5 years ago to $1,179 a month, okay, 2.5 times in 4 years.
So these residents say that their HOA dues and all of those dollars are going in the wrong direction, so they're taking their complaints to the state. Of course, we'll keep you updated with the developments. Reporting live in Pinellas County, Lenny Supal, 8 on your side.
So it's tragic because when you moved into a condo, let's say you had a $300 monthly maintenance. Now on top of that, they've added assessment fees for fixing roofs and these types of things, right? And they're forcing these people out of their homes in retirement. And you can't, it's not like you can be like, oh, well, I'll just sell it and buy a house. You can't. Nobody's buying them. And as it is, people are already offering below market value, where there was a boom here in Tampa Bay for a long time where people were offering above market value and paying cash. Now it seems to be, well, with the condos, nobody wants to have $1,000 maintenance fee after you pay your condo off. It's nobody wants to get into that. So here we go.
Does it ever end with Brian Kohberger?
Agent Taylor. Precise. Ms. Jennings.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Taylor's argued and multiple completely false narratives are the exact reason why this hearing should be closed. Ms. Taylor's argued and multiple completely false narratives are the exact reason why this hearing should be closed.
Precise. Ms. Jennings.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Taylor's argued and multiple completely false narratives are the exact reason why this hearing should be closed.
It's completely unfair and unacceptable for us to get a list of witnesses with no idea what they're going to testify about. The names witnesses don't mean much of anything. And unfortunately, we're having a pattern in this case of last-minute disclosures of witnesses and PowerPoints and all sorts of things that frustrate Your Honor's ability to assess what's going on, because it's brand new to you, just like it's brand new to us. And I think that practice has to stop. We need substantive disclosures. If they're offering experts, the rules of discovery specify what you have to disclose regarding an expert, and that's not just a name. So what's being propounded by the defendant right now simply isn't within the rule. It's not appropriate. It's not fair to the court or to the state. It's completely unfair and unacceptable for us to get a list of witnesses with no idea what they're going to testify about. The names witnesses don't mean much of anything. And unfortunately, we're having a pattern in this case of last-minute disclosures of witnesses and PowerPoints and all sorts of things that frustrate Your Honor's ability to assess what's going on, because it's brand new to you, just like it's brand new to us. And I think that practice has to stop. We need substantive disclosures. If they're offering experts, the rules of discovery specify what you have to disclose regarding an expert, and that's not just a name. So what's being propounded by the defendant right now simply isn't within the rule. It's not appropriate. It's not fair to the court or to the state.
Yes, Your Honor. Conspirators argued and multiple completely false narratives are the exact reason why this hearing should be closed.
Once the second AT&T warrant comes, then you end up with warrants for Mr. Koberger's arrest. You end up with warrants for DNA samples to be taken, warrants for the search of his apartment, the search of his car, the search of his parents' house. Those are the warrants that are next implied in that. Here, what's added to that set of affidavits is the paragraph that talks about Mr. Koberger's phone using a tower that provides service to 1122 King on a number of occasions. The PC affidavit says 12. Your Honor needs to take a look at, I believe it is D1B and C. That's an email from Nicholas Balance, and he's talking to the detective in Moscow about the dates that he says this thing happens. And then he puts those dates in his cast draft report and in his cast final report, and they don't match up. There are different dates on those, different times on those. But the really big deal about that is that it's misleading when you say the cell tower that also services this particular location. Moscow has, I think, 2 cell towers that service the town. Those cover places that one shops, places that one eats, places that one gets gas in Moscow. From the records, you can see handoffs, and so you know where a vehicle is going. You can know whether it's stationary or not. You can know whether it's parked, looking at a particular place or not. Based on those records, we also provided the records just so the court would know there's a volume of records. I don't expect the court to decipher those records. But based on those records, they absolutely knew that Mr. Koberger wasn't around that residence, wasn't parked near the residence, didn't stop and have his phone in a stationary position at that residence. They absolutely knew that that's not what was happening, but they put it in there to make a connection that didn't exist. They put it in there so that the judge would think that this was the right person, and they shouldn't have done that. They knew that was incorrect. They also changed that quite a bit, performed a drive testing, and so there were other bits of data that kept coming in so that they would know that was untrue. Now, for a magistrate to be relying, remember, on somebody who's a witness, somebody who's been interviewed 4 or 5 times, and continually says something that's absolutely impossible, has memory problems, and the judge never knows that, and we'll keep the IgG identification off to the side. But then you have this false narrative that looks like stalking, that looks like following, and it's not true. That is extremely damaging. It's very misleading. It's an outright lie to the magistrate. When you omit that kind of information, when you take that context out, you might as well say stalking, because that's what you're trying to say, and you know that's not true. This court can rely on our proffer in D1B and in the cast draft report and in the cast final report, because those dates change. The court can rely on the evidence that will be produced at a hearing from defense experts that will talk about the handoffs, the patterns of handoffs, and how misleading that paragraph was to the magistrate. The real story is exculpatory to Mr. Koberger. He was not stationary around that house. He was never at that house. He did go to Moscow. He did drive around, but he wasn't over there. And the phone records absolutely show that. Comments and understanding where we were a moment ago when we spoke. I feel like I must go through what their disclosures were because there are so many lists. My hope was that they would be limited because they didn't fulfill their disclosure requirement, and we did, and that put us at quite a disadvantage, not knowing what their experts would say.
And if they supplement, you certainly can supplement based upon what they supplemented, and I will permit that, and that's kind of the nature of the beast.
I do appreciate that, and should that become necessary, we'll definitely take you up on that, Your Honor. I want to make a record about some of their expert disclosures, though. Okay.
It's completely unfair and unacceptable for us to get a list of witnesses with no idea what they're going to testify about. The names witnesses don't mean much of anything. And unfortunately, we're having a pattern in this case of last-minute disclosures of witnesses and PowerPoints and all sorts of things that frustrate Your Honor's ability to assess what's going on because it's brand new to you, just like it's brand new to us. And I think that practice has to stop. We need substantive disclosures. If they're offering experts, the rules of discovery specify what you have to disclose regarding an expert, and that's not just a name. So what's being propounded by the defendant right now simply isn't within the rule. It's not appropriate. It's not fair to the court or to the state.
All of the lab people, they have lab reports and notes. The Idaho State Police Forensics Lab, I better be really clear on that. Other than the wiggle room language, which would ask that they not be permitted to have any wiggle room language, the lab reports are fine, with the exception of one of the witnesses, Ms. Nowlin, that they've disclosed, and she's written no reports.
Is that the one they said is a rebuttal witness?
They said she might be a rebuttal witness, so I suppose now they know what our witness is going to say. I want to talk about the cast report. The court's heard a lot about the cast report. When I say cast report, that's because that's what it's called. It's really a PowerPoint presentation. There's not any analysis in that. There's just, this will be my testimony. This is what it's going to be. Without much more, it's a picture, and it has some dots and some arrows. Your Honor, that needs to be cleaned up. We need to understand the analysis that went into coming up with those PowerPoint presentations. That's just not plain good enough. I would let the court know that the cell phone experts, there's wiggle language in both of those if the court hasn't seen that. Their disclosure number, that's Mr. Cox, that's a person that has not written a report at all. We have no idea besides the state's disclosure what that person's going to talk about. Agent Douglas that I talked about before, I don't think I need to make further record. There's a lot of documents, no analysis, no opinion stated. We put several of these in our pleadings, and so I won't go through all of them. I'm highlighting the ones that we're really concerned about. We have 3 that looked at digital data. The court should understand there's 60 some devices, there's digital data from third-party sources, and there are 3 people that are listed with just lists of things. It's Mowry, Tanzola, and Uric. They have lists of devices or social media accounts that they're going to talk about. That our expert told us would take 3 years to look at every bit of the data. So having no clue what's going to happen, I can envision exactly what the court's fear is when we get to jury trial, me wondering if this particular thing was ever disclosed. So I definitely needed to make a record of that. Further, with the lab personnel, there's a caveat that says they'll talk about other people's reports and other things that are outside of their report, in addition to some of the other wiggle language that I referred to. Your Honor, given that the state is now cautioned to think about those things and submit more, I feel like it's important for us to bring out that we have a right to confront the evidence that's brought against us. Brian has constitutional rights, United States and state of Idaho constitutional rights for a fair trial and to confront evidence. The expert disclosures are designed to advise us of what the state is going to do. Their disclosures were insufficient. I appreciate what the court said, but
I'm gonna assume that most people in the chat here now saw Lana chat earlier today where she was discussing the chiropractor murder, and the same detectives that are working this the same people that work in this case were working that one, and they're outright bold-faced stick in the mud liars that just completely drilled this guy who'd asked for his lawyer about all this information that they said they didn't have, that they didn't have, and they're constantly lying. And her work is now getting credited with shutting down some of the narrative over there. So great job to Lana, and let's continue.
But exactly what the court's worried about will happen if we don't have better disclosures. The jury will be in and out while we make sure that we have a clean record. We appreciate what the court said today, and we'd ask the court to order this.
You wonder when they're doing this stuff, and it's like they're chasing their own tail, when they're trying to nail these innocent people, if there's ever a point where they're like, well, wait, maybe this will come back to us in the future. Maybe this will come back on us. But it doesn't seem to be even an afterthought. They just continue to tell these people, we know you did it because of this, and it's not even true. And the reaction on the guy's face is waiting for the Jack in the Box to pop up and say they're kidding.
State to comply or for the court to exclude anything that hasn't been disclosed so far. That's it.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Mr. Sentinel. That's why you see Bill's face turn purple as an eggplant and steam shooting out his ears, because they're so surprised when anyone challenges them on anything, and they have a hissy fit. Now, Bill seems to be more demure now that he's in Ada County and out of his home zone, I guess you'd say, if you will. And I still feel there's a network there among the judicial system that works against suspects. And like I said, over and over, they are more interested in just getting a V and moving on. That's their job, is they want to get the people that are brought in convicted and put in that private prison system. And they will offer you plea deals. Now, people are talking about, I saw a couple people out there talking about, oh, I heard they're trying to make a plea deal for Brian, that's coming. That is not coming. I'm going to tell you. Right now, this will go to trial. If that's what's going to prevent it from going to trial, that's not going to prevent it. But the corruption seems to be nationwide. Pennsylvania, obviously, North Carolina. We see it everywhere. And New Jersey, Baltimore. and they spin these narratives, and it's like they're working from a playlist, yo.
So I'm going to give like both sides an example of what I expect so that you understand. There's been talk in this case about DNA. If somebody's going to talk about DNA and your intent is they're going to let the jury understand what DNA is and essentially going to do a mini course on DNA, I expect to see that in the expert disclosures. Not that they're going to do a mini course on the DNA. I expect to see the mini course in the disclosures.
We're not going to give a mini course to the jury, but I expect the mini course in DNA. Now, this was another topic that I was discussing this week with everybody here, is that can we get a standard that works, that's effective, that's proven, and just stick with it? Instead of having every single court case, you have to bring in a DNA expert and give a college lecture class to a jury. Every case. To just get one final thing and have it done. And then this is what DNA is. We found this DNA here. It wasn't under somebody's fingernail and brought to the crime scene. This was actual blood evidence, body fluid, whatever, and this is valid. It's like with fingerprints, you have what seems to be more of a valid circumstantial evidence than you do with DNA. DNA is questionable at best the way it sits right now with the touch DNA and the snap, and it's got to change. It's got to change.
Yes, Your Honor. Conspirators argued and multiple completely false narratives are the exact reason why this hearing should be closed.
And essentially going to do a mini course on DNA. I expect to see that in the expert disclosures. Not that they're going to do a mini course on the DNA. I expect to see the mini course in the disclosures, if that makes sense, in terms of what their opinions are, what their information is that they are conveying that is expert in nature. And so it really does behoove both sides to spend the time to do that.
If the court decides to open this hearing to the public, the state defense will be discussing evidence without any context. This will undoubtedly fuel speculation, lead to assumptions and false narratives. The evidence discussed may not even be offered, and most of it likely will not be offered by either party at trial because it's either not relevant or material. The public will not have any means or context to be able to differentiate that. It is necessary to mitigate this by closing the hearing in order to preserve the right to a fair trial for both parties. Preserve.
Another term that came up, Ms. Potts is still here, where we have the deadpan face clad in black. Another one that came up that you'll hear from time to time, and if you hear a millennial say it, you know it's not a millennial saying it. It is the attire that they're wearing. That's just one of those words that is injected into a statement by a witness or whatever. Attire. So you have deadpan face, and you know this whole thing with the made up dream sequence of Dylan makes me question the BK Norton interview now itself, and you have to kind of question everything in this case, but especially these things that fit around the narrative. And it's like they sought out people that would kind of go along. I was just saying that, Ms. Potts, I was saying that I added a new term to when they're injecting vocabulary into the millennials' witness testimony is you have deadpan face, like BK Norton said BK had after the killings, and then you have clad in black, which no millennial's going to say clad in black, and then I added another one, apparel is another word. If you see that word used by somebody under 20 or somebody under 30, more than likely that was interjected. I thought of you when I said
the right to a fair trial for both parties. The defendant does have a right to a public trial, but that does not mean the right to try this case in media. The defendant will get his day in court, and the public will have a right to see what evidence the state has. But that should be evidence that is admissible pursuant to the Idaho Rules of Evidence.
that's hilarious, Rochelle.
Now is not the time for that. We ask the court to grant the state's motion to close the hearing regarding the defendant's fourth and fifth motion to compel discovery.
That's another thing I wonder is, just because your feeble mind, apparently, whether it's Hitler or Jennings or Bill Thompson, just because your feeble mind can't wrap your head around something, that doesn't mean it's not legit. That just means you're ignorant.
Lastly, I ask you to issue a scheduling order for the parties to disclose witnesses, exhibits, expert reports, or any other evidence they plan on relying on for those hearings. Prior to the hearing, the state proposed May 3rd, and then a response to those by May 10th. And the state takes no issue with this being a dual deadline. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. May 3rd,
Ms. Potts, that's another thing I wanted to talk about is with most cases like Grady Judd, and we all know who Grady Judd is from here, and Polk County, Florida here, when they have one of these podium dances where they pat themselves on the back for catching the criminal, and they show the closed circuit TV, they show the 911 call, they show the mug shots, they give the history of the defendant, and then they give you the motive. Motive is always number one on Grady Judd's lips. Here, in this particular case, and with the what's his name? Is it Karen Reed or whatever? They have this creative desire to formulate a motive, and so they force this motive, and then all of a sudden, all that was bullshit. And so where we had 24/7 coverage in the beginning, blah, 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 he was this, he was stalking, he was at the house, and then the house comes crumbling down. What are you doing? I mean, it's not like, what do you have left? What are you doing? Why do you have to create this motive? If there's a motive, there's a motive. And there's always going to be a motive in a case like this, whatever it may be. Money, drugs, sex, jealousy, whatever it may be. When the truth is out there, you don't have to go around formulating and speculating crazy, wild, they call us conspiracy theorists, but what the fuck are they? Kids, go to bed. Today's show brought to you by Orange Drink. And the problem is, there's no repercussions for doing it. So they continue for some reason to do it. And a lot of people think that, oh yeah, no, there's so much pressure on them to get a suspect. It's like, dude, when you look away, when you walk out of the classroom, say you're the Sunday school teacher, and you walk out of the classroom, and you come back in, and here's law enforcement trying to jam that square peg into this round hole with all their might. They won't go to the square hole. Why in the world, over and over and over, are they doing this? You have a date tonight, Angel D? That's great. Good for you.
Might be a little quick.
Well, Your Honor, right, but our motion was filed over a week ago.
Right.
So everyone's been on notice of what the state was asking for.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Jenn. Ms. Taylor?
Thank you, Judge.
Our discovery requests have been filed for months, and they've gone unanswered too. So if we want to talk about being on notice for something, we can talk about that.
Ms. Taylor?
Thank you, Judge.
Our discovery requests have been filed for months, and they've gone unanswered too. So if we want to talk about being on notice for something, we can talk about that. What we're going to talk about on the 14th, Judge, I don't have to name any private citizen names. I can talk about records that exist and why we should have them without naming private citizen names. I can talk about the videos that they've not given us. They're not about the business. They're about videos that were collected by the police. I can talk about those in the context of the police reports. And by the way, those are all things that are talked about in the probable cause affidavit. And I can talk a ton about the cell phone information, the cell tower information, and the things that they have not given us, the drive test information, the verification of such.
That's the thing.
Jennings has no filter. When she wants to act something out, she can't. I wouldn't say she has a heart necessarily, but whatever emotion that she's currently feeling, she goes out of her way to dramatically overexpress it. And it comes out, it's easy to see her true intentions. She's not somebody that I would say had a good poker face. And she played that out so well at that Thursday hearing that I think it worked more towards, it was almost like she was on the side of the defense.
The court would look at Brian's rights here to a fair trial and balance that against the state's request to close the hearing. And we would want the court to consider that this isn't the state trying to protect Brian's interests at all. He has the right to the public hearing. This is the state trying to protect what the state's doing. And the court should look back through the history of this case. This is our fourth and fifth motion to compel. Motions to compel 1, 2, and 3 were public. They were right out in the open with the public. The specific discovery requests were also sealed. So this has been a pattern to do things in the public. And now this one needs to be sealed. The court has to ask itself why. And the court should ask itself, what is the state trying to hide here? The things that we're seeking in these motions to compel are things that are outlined in the probable cause affidavit that has been public for a year and a half now, that has been offered to be shared far and wide. We're looking for things like videos that the state said they collected so that we don't look at things in a little vacuum. The state tells you not to take it out of context, but that's what they're doing. When they want us to do this in private and not let the state know about the full scope of the videos that are out there that they haven't given us, That is the state keeping things in a vacuum to control the public narrative. And that violates Mr. Koberger's rights. That's what we want to prevent. This needs to be out in the open. Your Honor, I'll give you a couple of examples. The state filed last June its motion for protective order of the IgG materials. That motion was filed in public. It's on the public record. People can print that and read that and do all day long. And that had information that was negative about Mr. Koberger in it. So that's out there in the public. But that order was to protect information, the IgG information, that they say details how the state got to Brian in the first place.
So if you have this alleged DNA on this knife sheet, and you used it to get to him, but you can't show how. You can't show your own procedure protocol to get this DNA to match him. How on earth does that prove that it's him? Why on earth wouldn't you carefully document each step, because you know it's going to be scrutinized in court? How on earth are you going to tell me it's disappeared and now we're not even using that?
That's been sealed. That's fine. We respect that. But you have to question, why can we not talk about the things they're not giving us? Why can we not talk about the cell phone information, the tower information, the drive test information in a public arena? Why should Brian have to have his case, when he's asking for this information, be done in a little vacuum where the state says what the public can hear and what the public can't hear? Another example of this, Your Honor, is with the video tape that they've relied a lot on in their probable cause affidavit that we've received different parts of. Part of the hearing on the 14th is to talk about the different parts of that video that we've received and how we need the whole context. This is the video that they say places this car near the residence. We've received little tiny pieces of that. And we think Brian's right to a fair trial means the public needs to know that they've withheld the audio from a great portion of that, and that it starts a long time before the little clip that we've received. To do this in a vacuum, Judge, when documents are filed under seal, that's fine. Those are documents. But this hearing needs to be in the public eye. For the court to allow the prosecutor to say, we need to keep this all private for a fair trial, really ignores the public nature of this case. It really ignores the fact that Brian has been essentially convicted in the media. You don't have to read but a few articles to see how negative they are about him. He has a right to have this information withheld, brought out in public, so that people can see it's not this neat little package. So people can start to wonder if Brian's innocent. Your Honor, Brian is innocent. And he has an absolute Sixth Amendment right to have his hearings in public. We think if the court allows the state to shield the information and how they got their information and what they don't want us to have from the public, they're using his Sixth Amendment rights to hide behind. And that's just not what the court should allow. We strongly object to these kinds of things being closed.
And I think that practice has to stop. We need substantive disclosures. If they're offering experts, the rules of discovery specify what you have to disclose regarding an expert, and that's not just a name.
Does it ever end with Brian Koberger?
All right, let's give a Jen a few minutes here. She was out celebrating a birthday, so I don't want to. But she wanted me to go emergency live yesterday because she had something really big. So we'll give her a few minutes to kind of jump up in here. Hopefully she will. And Heather is MIA. I don't know. I sent her a text. She said, so whatever. I don't know. That's how women are, right? Let's see here. There she is. That's what I got from Heather. All right, everybody. Let's see. I wanted to play something else from somebody, and if you haven't checked that, it's been the subject, a hot topic with this creator here. If I could ever get my computer to work again. Yeah, I wanted to look also at the Twiz maps with Miss Whitaker there. Why is my computer not working? Okay, let's see. Something's got to work. There we go. All right. I played that, right? Yeah. Okay. And I thought it was amusing. One thing I will say is she finally showed herself on camera there. I'm assuming that's her. Right here. And I'll move my big head so you can see. Colder covered. There she is. And so she's been, I don't know what drew her to start doing this, but check out the couple of these videos real quick.
This one really needs to be explained a little better. Free Gunna. Is there a free Gunna running around shooting people, or is there a guy in prison named Gunna who they want to set free? This one really needs to be explained a little better.
This would crack me up.
Welcome to Snool. Looks like somebody needs to go back to Snool. Welcome to Snool. Looks like somebody needs to go back to Snool. The urge is real to jump in and grab that football. Probably not the best idea though, but the urge is there. Welcome. So, who are these 12 corrupt police officers? That's what I want to know. Here's some interesting graffiti. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man. James 1:13. And it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham. Genesis 22:1. And they've got a footnote there, Revelation 21:1-4. I'm back home now, and I have out my Tony Evans Study Bible CSB translation. We're going to look and see what Revelation 21:1-4 actually says. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. I also saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared like a bride, adorned for her husband. Then I heard a loud voice from the throne. Look, God's dwelling is with humanity, and he will live with them. They will be his peoples, and God himself will be with them and will be their God. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes. Death will be no more. Grief, crying, and pain will be no more, because the previous things have passed away. I find the juxtaposition between these verses and the other verses that were posted in the graffiti to be quite interesting, because it seems like they're totally different topics, and so it makes me wonder what was going through the artist's head at the time. What were they thinking when they decided, okay, this is what I'm gonna paint? I was on my daily walk in the park when I encountered a group of 6 teenage boys. One of them was a mixed boy who...
So there she is, colder covered. And so that if you want to check it out, I put a link. Check out her videos and stuff. She's got some cool stuff going on. It's looking like Jen's not going to make it. So you guys are sorry about that. She did have something to share with us that was pretty huge. She said she really did want me to go emergency live yesterday, and I was unfortunately sleeping after work. But on that note, let me see. I had one more thing that I closed. I wonder if I can reopen it. Yeah. No, I deleted it, unfortunately. What was it? I forgot. Anyway. So I gotta shut it down. I gotta go to bed. I really do. Or my body pays the price tomorrow. So, I will have her, and we'll cover that in the next couple days. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'll let the chat run, and you can say goodnight. And goodnight, everyone. Thank you for being here. If you're first time watching Purge, please hit that subscribe button and hit like, and